MSW Media.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. Today, an inside look at the mass blocking of Trump government accounts on Bluesky. A State Department intel group dissented over Putin's alleged peace deal with Ukraine. The CNN CEO ordered staff at CNN to scale back reporting on the White House demolition. Anchor and correspondent John Dickerson has left CBS News. Judge Xinis held an emergency hearing in the Kilmar Abrego case today. A Navy fighter jet and a helicopter have crashed in separate incidents in the South China Sea. Flight delays are persisting now as air traffic controllers face work without pay. And videos raise questions about whether feds violated a court order in Chicago. Hint, yes, they did. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
Hello, my friend. Happy Tuesday to you.
Happy Tuesday to you. How are you enjoying your vacation that you're working on? How's your work vacation, Allison?
My working vacation is wonderful. It's, I don't know why I can't have the vacation mindset at home when I'm doing the same amount of work. But for some reason, getting away really does make a difference. So I just want to promise everybody that I am relaxing and I'm getting vacation time in and the self-care is happening. So
She is. I can vouch for that. I just give her a hard time.
I know a lot of
jealous
people are
she's in
concerned.
paradise. Yeah, it should be wonderful.
So anyway, thank you all for letting me take Wednesday, because this Thursday I won't be here because I'll be traveling back home. But Dana's going to hold down the fort. Yeah, I'm going to be flying
I got you,
solo
boo.
for Thursday's beans. Thanks, pal. There are people who don't like to work, like Mike Johnson. Adelita Grajova still has not been sworn in after 35 days. Congress is out. They're still getting paid. They still get their full benefits. The Senate is working, so it's not the shutdown. It's not that they can't work during a shutdown. They do. They can. It's the Epstein files.
Yep, 100% it is. And it's disgusting that the House, I think, has worked something like 11 days in the last 4 or 5 months. They're getting paid. They're still getting paid during this thing. While our federal workers' SNAP benefits are ending, 1.3 million active military and veterans have SNAP benefits. I don't think people realize that. They have this idea in their head that these are people that are either not working or they're, low income. When I say low income in the sense of areas of this country, these are 1.3 million active service military and veterans. They're about to lose their SNAP benefits.
And I pointed that out over on Bluesky, and I just want to thank folks like Heather Cox Richardson and Mark Hamill who make sure to repost that to remind everybody that it's not who you think it is that's on SNAP benefits. It's because people are woefully underpaid. SNAP benefits aren't a welfare to the poor. They are a corporate welfare to the billionaires who do not pay people enough to work. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. So if people and Republicans are complaining, why are there 40 million people on SNAP benefits? Ask the billionaires why they aren't paying people enough, because most of those people are working, sometimes 2 jobs. Sometimes they're in the military.
Yep.
And they aren't getting paid enough and they need SNAP benefits to help feed their families. So they don't like to work. And there's going to be this cool event, by the way, on November 22nd in DC, where we're all going to go. We're going to talk to Congress. We're going to talk about all these things. And it's being hosted by a comedian and activist, Cliff Cash. And we're going to talk to him later.
Cliff is so damn good. He's so damn funny. I would love to open for Cliff on the road. We would be powerhouse couple together. We'd have so much fun.
You should. Can I get a clean tight 5 up front? Because that would be amazing. I would love that. Maybe not clean.
Yeah, I was like, you have never done a clean type 5 in your life.
Let's maybe rethink that. So I'm going to be talking to him later in the show. He's a fantastic person and he's doing incredible work. Also, thanks to everybody who watched the latest breakdown over on Midas Touch. It's up, by the way, at MullerSheWrote.com. If you missed it, it's free to watch. I would really encourage you to do so. Please take a minute and check it out. It's pretty important. And thanks to everybody who listened to Andy McCabe and I on Unjustified this past Sunday. Appreciate you. Again, December 1st, Dana and I are launching a new video podcast.
Yes, we are.
It's in addition to the daily beans. You still get your daily beans. Daily beans is the same. This is an additional thing that we're doing. Patrons, you're going to get it for a month. So you can help us fine tune it. So you're going to get it starting November 2nd if you're a patron of the Daily Beans, and we're going to get your feedback, and we're going to have little forums about it. And then we're going to launch it to the public December 1st. And if you're a patron and you get it early and you help us launch it, you will continue to get that podcast, the new one, ad-free and early. So you still get benefits as a patron. So sign up. It's patreon.com/MillerSheWrote. And Dana, the Trump administration is preparing to deport Kilmar Abrego to Liberia now, as soon as Friday.
The amount of manpower and money that has been wasted on ruining this man's life when it was their fuck up in the first place is disgusting. It's mind-blowing.
That's our money too.
Yeah.
That they're spending on this bullshit. So first it was Costa Rica. We'll let you, if you plead guilty, we'll send you to beautiful Costa Rica, where we have it in writing that they won't refoul you, they won't send you back to El Salvador, and they won't prosecute you, and they won't detain you if you plead guilty to these two crimes. Otherwise, we're sending you to Uganda. Then when that went out the window, they said, okay, we're going to send you to Ghana instead. And then after that fell through, they're like, because they couldn't get Ghana or Uganda to guarantee they wouldn't refoul him to El Salvador. Yeah. And so then they tried Eswatini. By the way, the only true monarchy left on the continent there. And when that fell through, they were like, okay, we found Liberia. Liberia has agreed. But Abrego is like, no, they're still going to refoul me to El Salvador. They're trying to stop it. They had an emergency hearing in Judge Xinis' courtroom today to discuss that. They're like, oh, Liberia all of a sudden. And so she wants to make sure there's due process. And currently she has a restraining order in place disallowing them from doing that. So that reverses an earlier commitment to bring Abrego to trial.
Yeah.
On human smuggling charges. Federal prosecutors, they were all like, we're going to get him. We're going to throw you in jail. We're going to prosecute you. Now they don't care. They just want to send him to Liberia.
They just want to admit, they want him to say he was guilty for something he didn't do. And he's not doing it. I mean, the fact that this man is holding steady in this is pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a super brave, courageous human being. His family is there supporting him, and he's got great legal teams, both for his civil case and for his criminal case. So we'll keep an eye on all of that for you. All right. With that, we have a ton of news to get to, everybody. So let's hit the hot notes.
Hot notes.
All right. First up, from the Hill, CNN is denying a recent report that its head, Mark Thompson, recently met with officials in Trump's administration and afterward urged his staff at CNN to ease up on its coverage of the White House renovation project. How about demolition? Because they've torn down the East Wing. The report, published in the media news outlet Status, cited people familiar who said staffers at Warner Brothers, Discovery-owned cable channel, were taken aback after Thompson, who they said generally doesn't weigh in on daily editorial matters, suggested CNN's viewership isn't all that interested in the White House demolition story. Thompson had been at the White House just last week before he said that, meeting with Trump administration officials about the network's new direct-to-consumer streaming service, noting it's commonplace for heads of major news networks to meet with the West Wing officials to shore up professional rapport and establish lines of communication, right, on your knees. On Monday morning, a representative for CNN confirmed to The Hill Thompson's recent visit to the White House, but pushed back on the Status report, suggesting he urged any journalist to ease up on coverage of the White House construction controversy. What construction controversy?
So much of their shit is they didn't even get permits for. I love that Elizabeth Warren is actually starting an investigation.
Yeah, agreed. Now, Warner Brothers, Discovery, CNN's parent company, they're planning for a sale, sparking speculation that the company could merge with another massive media conglomerate in the coming months, a deal that would likely require approval from Trump's FCC chair to get cleared.
Boy.
So, yeah, he went to the White House, got down on his knees. The White House told him to stop covering the demolition of the East Wing. And he went back and told everybody at CNN to chill out on that. And now they're denying it.
So
like,
disgusting.
who are you going to believe? Who are you going to believe?
This is actually a related story, by the way. It's from the Times. The anchor, John Dickerson, he said Monday that he would depart CBS News at the end of the year. This is the first sign of what's expected to be a major shakeup at the network under its new corporate owners. Mr. Dickerson, a veteran political correspondent who joined CBS 16 years ago, was most recently a co-anchor of the flagship CBS Evening News. He said, I'm extremely grateful for all the CBS gave me, the work, the audience's attention, and the honor of being a part of the network's history. That's what he wrote in a social media post. He said, I will miss you. The decision to leave CBS News was Mr. Dickerson's alone. That's according to two people familiar with the thinking. But the people said that he was cognizant that significant changes that we just talked about, including a revamp of the evening news, were on the way at the news division, which is now under the editorial control of the opinion journalist Barry Weiss.
Oh. So he's gone 16 years. And when he said, I've been proud to be part of the network's history and said, I will miss you. Yeah. I think that I will miss you doesn't just mean he'll miss working at the network. I think he's I think he's saying he's going to miss CBS because I think CBS is over.
Yeah.
With Barry Weiss at the helm. My God.
Mess.
All right. And as I said weeks ago on the breakdown over on Midas, video evidence keeps piling up showing ICE violating a court order in Chicago issued by Judge Ellis. This is from NBC5 Chicago. Videos and photos showing Border Patrol agents firing pepper balls and tear gas directly at protesters raise questions about whether those actions violate the agency's own use of force policies and a standing judge's order that limited their use. Those on the receiving end argue they did. Lee Kunkel said it felt like her nose exploded. She says when she saw agents beginning to fire pepper balls at protesters, she used her camera to record video. As they stood behind the hood of a white van, Lee and other photographers said they didn't realize they were agents. There were agents to their right of them. And that's when Lee said she was hit. Video posted on social media and reviewed by NBC5 Investigates shows agents appearing to fire pepper balls at her. On the same morning that Lee was struck, another protester's back, witnesses say and photographs show, was riddled with bruises from what appears to be pepper ball strikes. NBC5 Investigates asked both the Department of Homeland Security and Border Patrol for a response about whether they viewed incidents from September 19th and the 26th as violations of their own use of force policy. The federal judge overseeing that lawsuit, Judge Sarah Ellis, she's raised concerns of her own that her temporary restraining order from October 9th has been blatantly defied. She pointed out to recent incidents that gave her concern, including an October 12th incident at Albany Park, where a tear gas canister was used without warning, and October 14th in Chicago's East Side neighborhood, where Border Patrol agents had been involved in a chase. They then hit a car and then used tear gas on a crowd that gathered without giving warnings. Earlier this week, Kyle Harvick, who's a top deputy official with Border Patrol, testified the use of chemical munitions was justified in both instances because people were locking arms. Not locking arms.
Oh my God, what violence.
Oh, the humanity.
Were they playing Red Rover? Tell me they weren't playing Red Rover.
They were dressed as dinosaurs and capybaras, and we couldn't handle the pressure of them locking arms.
Where's my fainting couch?
Deployed the tear gas in a last-ditch effort to save our lives, even though we have machine guns. Oh my God, I hate them so much. They locked arms. That's why the chemical weapons were justified. Impeding agents from leaving Albany Park. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, says objects were thrown at the agents in the East Side incident.
Now they say?
But there's none of that is on video.
Of course not.
Late Thursday afternoon, attorneys representing the protesters filed a motion alleging they had significant concerns that Judge Ellis's order was being ignored. And they included a photograph and a link to a video, which appears to show Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino tossing a can of tear gas toward a crowd. In a post to Twitter on Friday, DHS confirmed Bovino tossed the canister, saying a mob of rioters shot at our agents with commercial artillery shell fireworks. What the fuck is a commercial artillery shell firework?
I do not know.
And struck Chief Greg Bovino in the head. On Friday, Ellis called for Bovino to appear in court. She actually ordered Christino to produce Gregory Bovino. in court today for a status hearing. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Another hearing on a preliminary injunction request is set for November 5th. In between now and then, Bovino and 2 other top-level immigration enforcement officials are expected to be deposed.
All right. Thank you, Allison. This one's from CBS. Roughly 3,370 flights were delayed across the U.S. on Monday, day 27th of the government shutdown, as more essential workers failed to show up to work. And I hate to say that I don't blame them, even though I'm flying so many times in the next 2 weeks.
I know. I'm trying to fly home on Wednesday, and I do not blame them either. I would not want to work a 60-hour thankless fucking just
in one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
For free. Yeah, no, thank you.
By the way, in addition to the flight delays, 118 flights heading into or out of the U.S., they were just completely canceled. That's according to flight tracking website FlightAware. The delays came after backups at airports over the weekend. On Sunday, more than 8,700 U.S. flights were delayed. FlightAware data shows that. Yep, air traffic controller shortage. That's why. Such workers are set to miss their full paychecks on Tuesday.
Yeah, and that's the first time they're being told they'll get $0.
Yeah, I can understand why this is going to be a mess. Yeah. And they quote, they got their notice on Thursday and Friday. They get a notice of what they are going to get paid on Tuesday. And they got a big fat no paycheck is coming on Tuesday. That's the Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. That's what he told Fox News. The nation faced a shortage of air traffic controllers even before the government shutdown even began. However, the impasse threatens to interrupt efforts to ramp up staffing.
Duffy, you didn't have to ramp up staffing.
How are you going to hire? Would you like to apply for a job we're not paying for until the government gets back to work? This is insane.
And you wouldn't have to ramp up staffing if you didn't cut staffing.
Right. The whole fucking Doge bolt. Oh, Duffy has discouraged air traffic controllers from taking on second jobs during the shutdown, which some personnel deem necessary to feed their families while they work without paychecks. Yes, some of them are delivering food. Some of them are driving Ubers and Lyfts. I would do what I had to support my family too during this time.
Yes, and everyone, please go to Bernie Sanders' website. He's got resources. If you're a federal worker, if you're an air traffic controller, you're not getting paid for your work right now, there are credit unions that are offering 0 interest loans to carry you through until the government opens, if and when the government opens. It is a loan. You will be taking on a loan that you have to pay back, but it's a 0 interest loan. All right, next up from CBS, a Navy fighter jet and a Navy helicopter crashed in the South China Sea in separate incidents on Sunday, according to the Navy. Crew members from both aircraft were safely rescued. According to U.S. Pacific Fleet, an MH-60R Seahawk helicopter that was assigned to Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron 73 Battle Cats crashed around 2:45 p.m. local time while conducting routine operations. About 30 minutes later, an FA-18F Super Hornet fighter from the Strike Fighter Squadron 22 Fighting Redcocks also crashed while conducting routine operations. Its 2 crew members ejected and were rescued by search and rescue teams from Carrier Strike Group 11. Pacific Fleet said all crew members are in stable condition and the cause of the crashes are still under investigation. I bet it's that warrior ethos that they're using.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I bet it's because they changed it to Department of... If they could officially change it to the Department of War, this probably wouldn't have happened.
Oh, was there an eye roll? I bet I got an eye roll. If you're not watching this because we don't have our video yet, there was an eye roll. This one's from the Wall Street Journal. The State Department's Internal Intelligence Agency cast doubt earlier this year on the notion that President Vladimir Putin, Russia, was prepared to negotiate an end to the war in Ukraine, dissenting from a more optimistic Central Intelligence Agency assessment of potential talks. That's according to several current and former officials. Analysts at the State Department's Bureau of Intelligence and Research, known as INR, expressed this opposing view in assessments and briefings in months leading up to President Trump's August meeting with Russian counterpart in Anchorage, Alaska. The dissent also appeared to be the president's daily brief. I'm shocked he actually reads those. That's according to current and former officials.
Oh, just because it appeared in the president's daily brief, that does not mean that it was read.
Yeah. The State Department's dissent on Russia's willingness to negotiate hasn't been previously reported, by the way. Really?
So CIA, Ratcliffe, the dick bags over at the CIA are like, oh, yeah, Putin will totally negotiate. And the actual holdover analysts in the INR in the State Department are like, y'all are dumb fucks.
Yep.
That's
He's not
basically what
fucking
happened
doing
here.
anything. I think we all knew that wasn't going to happen either. Several analysts later, they were fired, by the way, amid an administrative directive to reduce the federal workforce. That's according to the State Department. A State Department official attributed the removals to a department reorganization and said that analysts in that bureau's Russia-Eurasia group weren't targeted, and the office remains able to conduct important assessments.
Yes,
I don't buy that. The State Department's INR, and I quote, does important work to produce critical intelligence assessments. This is Tommy Pagot, a State Department spokesman. A CIA spokesman declined to comment. That's surprising.
Yeah, so there are still some people, well, apparently those people who in the State Department, INR, who were like, Putin's not going to negotiate peace with you, you dumb fucks. Apparently they got fired. So maybe there's new people in there who will be willing to say what the CIA says because, you know, he's got sycophants already at the CIA.
Yeah.
All right. You'll recall, everybody, back in August, a 3-judge panel on the Fifth Circuit, super conservative Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, ruled in favor of students at Texas A&M that drag shows are protected under the First Amendment, drag performances. And we were like, the Fifth Circuit, hell yeah. Drag performances are protected by the First Amendment.
Damn right.
We thought that was settled.
Oh, boy.
Because the school, Texas A&M, did not file an appeal. But the full Fifth Circuit panel, sua sponte, meaning all by themselves, they took it upon themselves to rehear this case, indicating that the full panel will likely rule that drag performances are not protected speech, teeing it up for the Supreme Court. Now, keep in mind, if the Fifth Circuit panel decides that drag is not protected First Amendment activity and the Supreme Court decides not to hear the case, that would leave the Fifth Circuit's ruling in place. And it would have to be challenged from a different circuit court. Like if somebody in California sued and then the Ninth Circuit would decide drag is protected and the Fifth Circuit says it's not, then the Supreme Court has to hear that conflict.
Yeah.
So we're going to watch this case very closely because it is absurd to think that dressing in drag is not free speech.
Seriously.
The government wants to tell you what you cannot wear.
All those boys dressing as cheerleaders on October 31st. What are they going to do? Press charges?
That's it. Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. Ugh, I hate them all.
Yeah, me too. I know, me too.
All right. This is from Wired. Since at least February, the White House has considered creating a Bluesky account. Okay. This is all the Bluesky account we love and like to be over there. It's friendly skies. Well, since February, they've been considering creating an account. What begun as talk of setting up an experimental account turned into a more strategic decision last week. As the government continued into shutdown, members of the White House's digital team decided to take its shutdown messaging to the predominantly left-wing platform as part of a coordinated blitz with several other federal agencies that officials described as an effort to reach all audiences. But what they attempted to position as bridge building quickly looked something more like trench warfare. Instead of conscientious outreach across the aisle, the Trump administration's Bluesky launch, it mixed trolling and partisan messaging, creating instant backlash. The coordinated launch sparked backlash from Bluesky's user base, which created and shared lists, making it easier for others to block all of the administration's accounts at once.
I shared that list.
That's so awesome. As of Tuesday, a dozen of the 20 most blocked accounts were created by the Trump administration last week. That is fucking impressive, everybody. Mm-hmm. The White House account has drawn only around 12,000 followers. More than 100, get ready for this, more than 100,000 users have blocked the account.
Okay, 12,000 followers, 100,000 blockers.
Yep, according to Bluesky block tracking site ClearSky, making the White House the second most blocked Bluesky user. Vice President J.D. Vance, who registered in June, still holds the record of the most blocked accounts with 166,000 people telling him, go fuck yourself. We don't want to hear what you have to say.
Fantastic. I remember when they all kind of invaded, and they brought a lot of trolls and dickheads with them, too.
Yeah.
And so I've got a couple of MAGA lists that I follow, block lists that I follow. And I shared if you want to block all of the Trump accounts, all the Trump government accounts, here's that list. And, when we win the White House back and we take over in 2029 and the new people take over those accounts, you're going to unblock that list. It's not permanent. But the block feature on Bluesky is nuclear. It blocks them. It blocks their family members, their loved ones, their ideas, their breathing. You can't hear a smidge from them. And they are even blocked in replies. And even if someone shares something that they said, it doesn't show up for you. It's a really good, safe, wonderful block feature. And so these accounts are getting nowhere fast on Bluesky, and I'm here for it.
I love it.
Thank you.
I don't know whose voice that was, but she loves it too. I love it.
I love it. Thank you for that bit of good news.
Thank you very much.
I needed that little bit of good news. And speaking of good news, we're going to get to that. But first, we're going to talk to Cliff Cash for a minute right after this break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, everyone. Now that fall is rolling in and the evenings feel cozier, I want warm comfort meals without the planning or the stress. But, as it turns out, it sounds funny, but HomeChef has become my go-to. They are the masters of this. Their oven-ready meals and hearty recipes feel like comfort food without the hassle, so I can enjoy dinner instead of overthinking it. Users of leading meal kits have rated HomeChef #1 in quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And for a limited time, HomeChef is offering you 50% off and free shipping on your first box, plus free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/dailybeans. Now, HomeChef makes cooking easy, and I'm a terrible cook, but these meals come out amazing. It's because of how they prep them for you. You get fresh ingredients delivered, simple recipes that taste like something you would want to eat again. Some days I want a classic recipe with fresh produce. Other days I want something fast so I can relax. HomeChef has both of these things. They have oven-ready trays. They even have microwave-friendly meals for those nights when time is not on my side. With more than 30 meal options every week, I can choose things that fit my mood, fit my dietary plan, and fit what I'm craving. The recipes are clear. The flavors are great. Dinner doesn't feel like a chore. It's joyous again. HomeChef takes the stress out of mealtime and puts delicious food back in it. I recently had their sesame chicken with spicy glazed vegetables. It was absolutely delicious. The chicken was tender and juicy. The vegetable mix of carrots and snow peas and onions had the perfect amount of spicy and crunch. And it was easy to make and it hit the spot. For a limited time, HomeChef is offering you 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Just go to homechef.com/dailybeans. That's homechef.com/dailybeans for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm honored to talk to my friend, again, comedian, activist, all-around amazing person, assistant manager of Antifa. Please welcome Cliff Cash. Hi, Cliff. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's really good to see you again. I'm following you on all your socials, watching your YouTube clips. You even pop up randomly in my reels on Facebook these days, which I'm not on very much, but when I am to go and put something up there you are telling your amazing jokes and incredible stories. And your activism is just off the hook these days. Tell me about recently, because the last time I had you on, we talked about the Fox takedown and corporate media takedowns and all these events that you were planning with Flair. But you've got something coming up in November that's like super big. And I think right now I just saw that you were in Portland. So talk a little bit about Portland and then we'll move on to what's happening in November.
Yeah, Fox Takedown is just foxtakedown.com if anybody wants to know more. We're doing a lot of stuff. But yeah, right now I just saw all the stuff happening in Portland and I thought, you know what, I should go out there and talk some smack. So I protested and did some just overall activism in DC for 3 days. We led people into Congress this past Friday. We went and knocked on Mike Johnson's door for hours, and he never would answer, even though we know they're in there. And we left them flyers with pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein hanging out together and all the quotes they said about each other and the court documents of them committing child SA together. And later that day, we protested Fox DC. Saturday, we did No Kings. Saturday afternoon, we canvassed Russ Vaught's neighborhood with flyers about him. Turns out all of his neighbors already knew that he was trash. And then Sunday, we went to Pete Hegseth's church. And everybody that came out, we read Pete Hegseth's mom's email to him loudly through a megaphone as they walked to their cars. And I also described his essay in detail to them through a megaphone while I walked to their cars. And then I flew to Portland, and that's where I am now. I protested at the ICE facility yesterday with one of those megaphones that you can just record yourself and put it on repeat. I'll post that on my social media later today. And then I had a show in Portland last night, sold out show at Helium Comedy Club, a really incredible crowd, super stoked. And then I'm in Seattle tonight. And then I fly home to work on this November 22nd event.
That's one of my favorite stretches, by the way, like a San Francisco, Seattle, Portland stretch for doing shows. So tell us about the on-the-ground, insufferable war zone that is Portland, because we know that the Ninth Circuit, I believe, just lifted the temporary restraining order on deploying the Oregon National Guard that was issued by Judge Immergut, but her second temporary restraining order, barring any National Guard from being deployed in Oregon, still stands. So I don't think they're yet able to deploy the National Guard. They're fighting really hard to deploy the National Guard there. I don't think they've been able to do it yet, but there is a lot of ice on the ground there at that ICE facility. So, and I know that, and you know, that they are trying to make it seem like Antifa terrorists are everywhere, just terrorizing everyone and beating up police officers. Basically what they did to us on January 6th at the Capitol.
Really?
And there's just no evidence of that. You know, most of the judges are like, there's nothing to justify the deployment of troops to Seattle, or excuse me, not Seattle, but Portland.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure Seattle will happen next week.
Right.
So you're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, you said it all. I was at ICE yesterday. There were like maybe 50 protesters total. A lot of them are like grandmothers and grandfathers. Some of them are people like us that happen to be out of a job because this economy is way worse than anything Biden oversaw. People are losing their jobs. One person told me they lost their job in manufacturing because of supply chain issues due to tariffs. Another person was a federal employee and lost their job. So, I mean, some of these people, it's like, if you don't want protesters, make sure everybody has a job, Donnie. Some of them are out here protesting because they don't have a job to go to, and it's his fault. But, you know, so I think what's happening with the federal government in general, with Kristi Noem, they have a full-on video production team. You know, the kind of video production team I wish I had following me as a stand-up comedian. And they are creating scenarios that look like serious conflict and then filming those in a very,
cherry-picking type of way.
Yeah, kind of a partisan angle, for lack of a better way to say it. And just, so, you know, Randall Blazek, I think I'm saying his name right, but he's a fascism expert, and he speaks on every news channel, and a great guy. He lives in Portland. I was out there with him yesterday, and he said after the No Kings protest, about 1,000 protesters went to the ICE facility, and that's the biggest crowd they've had in a long time. It's usually like 200 max. So 1,000 people showed up peacefully protesting, a bunch of people in inflatable outfits and all of that. And the cops came out, tear gassed all of them, like massive amounts of tear gas before anything. Even there was zero conflict. And then they came out and were pushing people, knocking people down and grabbing people. And they have a cameraman, you know, so they're just creating this thing that looks like chaos and a riot. It's like, yeah, you created the chaos. You created the conflict, the tear gas, the optics, the shields and the masks and all of that. So that's what they're doing, and that's what they're doing everywhere. And Kristi Noem and her team, all of these people in general, that's what they're showing to these dirt road simpletons that only watch Fox and drink Mountain Dew, and all they're seeing is this very slanted side of it. They're not showing their viewers children being ripped away from their mothers who are still breastfeeding. They're not showing their viewers priests being put in jail for 3 months. They're not showing veterans of this country being tackled to the ground because they have brown skin. And if they were showing their people that, not one person in this country would be for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm assuming they're also going to try to use these videos and this footage in court, because the body cam footage tells a different story.
100%.
But they're trying to justify the deployment of troops. And you have to be able to show that local law enforcement is incapable of controlling this, Antifa anarchic jurisdiction. They tried this in Seattle and Portland during the George Floyd protests as well, and did the same thing and used the same kind of slanted videos that they took to justify rolling in unmarked vans and snatching people off the street without any due process. So it's no surprise that they are the ones fomenting the violence, and then they're lying in court about it. We've got them dead to rights lying in court. We've got them trying to falsify or disappear evidence. And still, federal grand juries are refusing to return indictments and juries are refusing to convict. So it's going to be interesting to see what the courts think, particularly all the way up to the Supreme Court. And I think once the Ninth Circuit full panel hears this case, which I think they're doing sua sponte without a filing from Portland or Oregon, I think that they'll keep Judge Immerget's restraining order in place. But it'll be interesting to see. Interesting is doing a lot of work there as a word, but it'll be interesting to see what the Supreme Court does with this. And if they do actually decide that Stephen Miller, in his Freudian slip, is correct, that the president does have plenary power and it's not reviewable by courts to send the military against U.S. citizens.
Yeah, and I think a big part of what they do is they celebrate every tiny win and never acknowledge that they're losing the game by 100 points. So it's like, we scored. And we're like, yeah, but you've lost 95% of your court cases during this term. Like, you're not actually winning on the legal front.
And we don't celebrate the little wins on our side. We're like, hey, we won this thing. I'm like, yeah, but it'll just go to shit. That's why I'm always like, we need to celebrate our wins, tout our wins, brag about our wins, so that it is a countermeasure to their propaganda.
Totally. I've said for a long time, we will never beat these people all the way until our messaging is way more effective, until we are telling the truth in a better, more effective way than they are telling the lie. We have no chance of beating them. We don't even have to lie. We don't have to make stuff up. We don't have to make, inaccurate recordings and have cameramen following us around to dramatize reality. All we have to do is make sure people understand the truth. And this is a brainwashing of a nation. They've done such a good job of telling their sycophants that there is no truth. There's only the truth that Donald Trump says is true. You can't trust any news network, including even if his own news network say something about him that's bad. You can't trust him either. And it's really sad, but fascinating that this many people are so anti-intellectual that they really have bought this whole thing that I can't trust anybody except for a lifelong con man with dozens of failed businesses and 6 bankruptcies and 3 marriages that he's cheated on, who's selling gold sneakers and a USA Bible made in China. That's the only guy I can trust. And it's so pathetic. Like, I truly, this is going to be studied for decades and decades. This is a fascinating time in political history. And I wish I could focus on the interestingness of it and not just the clear
the urgency,
chaos. And yeah, it's a disaster. I mean, I hope everyone fully realizes how dire this really is. This is not a normal time in political history.
Yeah, and that's why cameras out is so important. Canada was elbows up. I say cameras out. Get your camera out. Make sure you record everything. Document it. Push back on their propaganda. And, I know a lot of people are like, leave your phones at home, leave your phones at home. I'm a little worried about where that message is coming from. But if you don't feel safe taking your phone out, get a camera that's not a phone and have it with you at all times, because we need to document the truth.
Yeah, you can buy pretty decent little small body cameras for as low as like $30. I know, because I've bought a ton of them for people we protest with. Yeah, it's crazy. And like you said, you're not sure where the message is coming from to leave your cameras at home. I'm not sure where the message is coming from to not flood the capital of the United States of America. Like, it's really great that we're having all these protests, like, down the street from your house and the park in your neighborhood. But, like,
I think they're working up to that, Cliff. I think from talking to the folks who are organizing Indivisible, who are organizing 5051, is to start, with hands off, then No Kings June, then No Kings 2, then have a No Kings maybe in April of next year, and then have the big No Kings at the Capitol right before the midterm elections. Like, they want to build up to get closer to that 3.5% number, 11 million, 12 million of us. Not that we could get all those 12 million people at the Capitol, but a good chunk of them. There were 200,000 plus people, I hear, at DC this time.
Yeah. I was one of them.
Yeah, which is a quadruple the number that they had last time, because people were like, stay away from the Capitol. We don't want to, enrage the feds. But I think it's moving toward that and building toward that. At least that's my understanding and my hope, because I will be at No Kings 4 in DC close to the midterms. That's my goal. And I'd also like to see if I can make it out to DC on November 22nd. So before I let you go, we got a minute here or two left. Talk about the event that's happening November 21st, November 22nd. It's a series of events, right?
Yeah, let me first say I'm super, super grateful for and really impressed by Indivisible and 5051, the way that they've been able to mobilize people nationwide. I'm not poo-pooing that by any means. To me, that was chapter 1, and now we're on chapter 1,000, and we have to shut down the Capitol. I think that every country on earth is waiting for us to do that. It's the optics that everybody needs to see, including this regime, including our Democratic leaders, and including all of our allies around the world. They need to see a stifling number of people in D.C. So we're trying to jump the gun and do it now. But November 22nd is the day. We have the Dropkick Murphys headlining the event. We're working on permit for physical location now, possibly Washington Monument, possibly World War II Monument. But we are going to make it a 3-day deal. On November 20th, we're going to lead people into Congress. Last time we had a big event, we led 1,500 people into the 3 House buildings. Nobody does that. Literally there's no lobby, there's no citizens lobby that is getting those kind of numbers out. We're really proud of that. It does make a difference. It makes a lot of noise. It makes them very uncomfortable. We're pushing Republicans to talk about, to vote to release the Epstein files. And we're pushing Democrats to get on board for impeachment, because until every Democrat is on board for impeachment, 0 Republicans are going to join. That's the way this works. So Thursday morning, Congress. Thursday evening, we're going to have an influencer meet and greet. People like Allison, who we would really love to have be part of it. People that are the biggest donors for the weekend are going to get to have a happy hour meet and greet with some people that you look up to. And all of these people are people that I look up to. And then Friday, we'll have a veterans event, and we're going to have a music show that night too. We have Brian Andrews, who's a progressive country star who goes real hard on social media, killer guy, just gone viral multiple times recently. He's going to play that night. And then Saturday is going to be the big event. Lots of great speakers, Dropkick Murphys. And then our hope is that we're going to march, but we're not announcing that yet, because some of that you have to kind of play close to the chest.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, tell everyone where online they can get information about this event and all future events and your shows. If you are in a city where Cliff Cash happens to be, and you're lucky enough to be in a city where he happens to be selling tickets to a comedy show, you got to go. The room is electric. It's a bunch of like-minded people laughing and kind of, it's self-care going to see live comedy. And I've, always said we need to support comedy. So tell everyone where they can get all of that information.
So if you'll follow me on social media on @CliffCashComedy on every platform, and that's a great gateway to all these other initiatives I'm working on. I post about all of them incessantly. The event is removetheregime.org, and the coalition of groups that's working on it is the removalcoalition.org. And I'm also, of course, working on foxtakedown.com and a bunch of other websites. My newest one is epsteinsbestfriend.com. I've put that on some digital billboard trucks and rolled it around DC. So I'm sure they have me on a list somewhere.
Nice. Yes, I'm sure you are. And, the question I get is the same question I have for you. When do you sleep, sir? When do you sleep? Thank you so much for your activism. And you're like, what? Sleep what? Appreciate all the work you're doing, all the activism. And all the laughter you bring to people. People really need it right now. And we also have to continue to point out that this regime is sinister, but it's also just ridiculous on its face. It's comedy gold, and we have to go there.
I'll say this real quick. We drew an 8-hour circle around DC, and we added up all the attendance from this past Saturday from places like Philadelphia and Morgantown, West Virginia, everything within 8 hours of DC. And that number was very close to 1 million, including the DC turnout. So if those people who showed up that close to DC will show up in DC, and then we have some other people coming from other parts of the country, we can absolutely get 1 million people in DC. And it will be history. You will be making history, and it will be a message heard around the world. And we're begging you to do that. Now is the time. Revolution is inconvenient. It's not free. It's not cheap. It's not always fun. But this country's worth fighting for.
Yeah, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And remember, everybody follow @CliffCashComedy on whatever social media platform you're on. And really appreciate your time today.
Appreciate you so much. Thank you.
All right, everybody, stick around. We'll be right back with the good news. Hey, everybody, I started using OneSkin because I wanted something simple that actually worked for me. I tried it on my face and my hands at first. I expected just moisture, but my skin feels actually smoother and fuller. It looks brighter. I love that I just cleanse, pat dry, and apply twice a day. It takes almost no effort, and the results have surprised me in the best way. So we're loving OneSkin, and we want to thank them for sponsoring the episode. So we have a discount for you. Go to OneSkin, OneSkin.co, and use code DailyBeans for 15% off. So when the weather starts to cool down, the air gets dry, my skin notices. Fine lines, crepey, kind of scaly. It shows up faster. Everything feels less firm than it used to. And this is when I started using OneSkin. I'd never heard of a skin longevity company before, but I love that they were founded by all women, an all-women team of PhDs who wanted skincare that actually works. Now, most anti-aging stuff promises the world, but then it just sits on top of your skin. And you can tell, right? But OneSkin created something different. It's a patented OS1 peptide. It targets senescent cells. Those are the cells responsible for wrinkles and sagging, and it works deeper than the surface. So the results are real, not temporary. So my go-to is the OS1 face because it's both a serum and a moisturizer all in one. I also use the body formula on my arms where the skin can get very crepey. Now everything feels smoother. It's more resilient. I was honestly surprised by how quickly my skin responded. I love it. So this season, don't just moisturize. Support your skin at a cellular level with OneSkin. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using code DailyBeans at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with the code DailyBeans. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please help us and tell them Daily Beans sent you. And try OneSkin today. You'll be glad you did. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Good news, everyone. Then good news, everyone.
Good news. If you have any good news that you want to share with us, it can be big, it can be small, it can be from yesterday, it can be from 25 years ago. If you have a joke you want to share with us, we all need a laugh. We need to microdose hope right now and laughter right now. Please send us all of your good news stories. If you have a correction, a pronunciation correction, we would love to hear that too. If you have a shout out that you'd like to give to a loved one or a small business or a nonprofit or a community organizing group in your area, or a self shout out, we love those. You want to share your thesis or dissertation title with us? Those are hilarious. We love those. My dissertation title is ridiculous. I'll tell you later. They're just so long and very, very specific. And boy, they sound like mine's a snoozer. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say it's really, really boring. But there have been some really incredible dissertations that y'all have written, and we'd love to hear about them. Send those to us. So you can either, shout out your dissertation or make fun of it like I just did with mine, however you want to handle it. Also, we would love to hear shout outs to government programs that have helped you or a loved one. They're all in danger right now. Some have been eliminated, and we want to preserve how awesome they are with memories and good news stories. Send it all to us. dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. All you got to do to get your stuff read on the air is to pay your pod pet tariff, which means attach a photo of your pet. Maybe we could guess the breeds in your shelter pup. If you don't have a pet, attach an adoptable pet in your area. We'll see if we can find him a forever home. If you don't have that, really just grab a random photo of an animal off the internet. We would love to see them. We have all kinds of favorite animals. We especially love baby animals. You can send that to us. Bird watching photos, which can be a bird, or you or your family or friends flipping the bird to Trump buildings. Those are fun.
That's right.
We all have those pictures in our phone somewhere. If you don't have that, family photos, photos of what you're making or creating, your hobby, anything at all, send it to us. dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. We'd love to hear from you. First up today is the Good Trouble. Your Good Trouble comes from Jess Craven's Chop Wood Carry Water Substack. You should follow it. Jess says, call your senators and your House reps. Hi, I'm constituent calling from this zip code. My name is blank. I'm calling to express my alarm that millions of low-income families who rely on SNAP and WIC are at risk of hunger because Republicans refuse to use the contingency funds that they have to pay for SNAP. Also, millions of Americans may not be able to afford health insurance policies soon if Congress doesn't agree to make a permanent extension of the ACA tax credits. We're running out of time. Republicans need to come back to D.C. and work with Democrats to pass a bill now to ensure that hungry Americans don't lose their nutritional assistance and that working Americans don't lose their health care. Thank you. So that is a form letter that you can do, or a script that you can read when you call your rep. Be sure to check Jess out there and as a co-host of MSW Media's Practivist Pod, where you can get your weekly dose of practical activism. We're going to have a link in the episode notes to Jess's post where you can find that script and a link to find your senators and congressperson. Thank you so much to Jess Craven for that Good Trouble today.
All right. And next up is Betty, pronounced she and her. Hello, AG and DG. The New Jersey governor's race comes with a couple of pronunciation challenges. Then this is definitely for me, for anyone not inundated with a million campaign ads on a daily basis. The Republican candidate's last name is pronounced Chittarelli. And the candidate's first name is pronounced Mikey with a long I sound. Not Mickey, like the mouse. Thank you very much. I know I fucked up. Both
Mikey Sherrill, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing, by the way. Jack Chittarelli is a Trump humper, so that's an easy no for me. Mikey Sherrill, on the other hand, is a strong candidate. Although she has been leading in the polls, her margin keeps narrowing, and it worries she may lose, especially if there are Trump-backed efforts to suppress voter turnout or challenge legitimate ballots, and we already covered that. They are trying to do that. Honestly, this election season makes me very anxious. Same, girl. Same. I'm not going to lie. Betty, I hear you. For my pod pet tax, my pod pet tariff, a beautiful black cat currently looking for a home. The cat distribution system brought her into my life, but my older and very cranky cat refuses to share our home peacefully. They fight like cats and, well, cats. This lovely girl has a bill of health and is about 3 years old, spayed, vaccinated, and ready for adoption. She is wonderfully gentle, adores people, and will happily curl up in your lap for snuggles. If you live in greater Philadelphia area, New Jersey, or Pennsylvania, I'd be glad to bring her to you. So there's going to be an email that we are going to put in the show notes.
Yep.
And it's nj.black.cat.2025@gmail.com.
And this is a beautiful void kitty.
Gorgeous.
So sometimes when you shine a light on a void kitty, you can see that they have secret stripes and they're kind of brown underneath and sable colored. And this void kitty has that. She's beautiful. So if you're up there in Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, you need a familiar. She's 3 years old, clean bill of health, and she will be brought straight to your door by this wonderful Leguminati patron, Betty. Again, nj.black.cat.2025@gmail.com. Thank you. Next up, Katie, pronouns she and her. Pronunciation, the Irish political parties you mentioned are Sinn Féin and Fine Gael. Also, the Republican candidate for New Jersey governor, Jack Ciattarelli.
There you go.
That sometimes refers to as him as Shitterelli by the folks here in New Jersey. Thanks for all you do. I knew Sinn Féin, but I didn't know Ciattarelli or Fine Gael. So thank you, Katie, for that. And then from Julie, pronouns she and her. Hello, ladies of the legumes. Longtime Beans listener here. Thank you for helping us figure out what's true and what's bullshit each day in this crazy world. The swearing helps keep us sane. I'd like to shout out a nonprofit that's been doing phenomenal work for children in marginalized communities for 50 years. The Education Law Center of Pennsylvania. As you noted a couple weeks ago, Trump laid off more employees in the Federal Department of Education, affecting programs for children with disabilities, children who experience discrimination, and children in poverty. ELCPA has been standing up for students in these groups and for all students' access to quality education since 1975. They have fought for the rights of transgender students and immigrant students. They even won a court battle to change the state's school funding system. So check out el-pa.org for more info. For Pod Pet Tariff, I bring you two little-known types of animals that bring me joy. The first is a pangolin, which I discovered way back when my son was in a spelling bee.
Oh, my God.
Pangolins have scales, but they're mammals. They can curl up into a ball to protect themselves. These guys are so cool. They look like
armadillos,
armor-plated anteaters, right?
Yeah.
For the second animal, I bring you the pink fairy armadillo. They live in Argentina. They're about the size of a dollar bill. To me, they look like some kind of real-life Pokemon. Enjoy. Oh, these are great.
Oh, my God. Armadillos are wild.
Yeah. And the pangolins are they look medieval and prehistoric at the same time. It's incredible.
Yeah, they do. It's wild. All right. This next one's from Brock, pronouns he and him. Dad joke incoming. I heard this joke at the funeral. A man walks into a bar. The bartender asks him, "What can I get you?" And the man says, "I'll have 15 shots of your finest whiskey." The bartender hesitantly says, "Okay," and lines up 15 shot glasses on the bar and starts pouring. And as soon as he's pouring each shot, the man pounds them down. After 4 or 5 of them, the bartender stops and says, "Whoa, man, what is going on? Why are you drinking these so fast?" And the man says, "Oh, buddy, you'd be drinking them this fast too if you had what I got." The bartender says, "Jesus, that doesn't sound good. What is it that you have?" And the guy goes, $1. That's it. My pod pet tax is my cat, Kitty.
I've got $1.
I got $1. My pod pet tax is my cat. Kitty is the name. She came off the street one night and hasn't left. It's been almost 3 years now.
Brock cat distribution system at work. What a pretty cool markings on this baby girl.
Very cool. Little donut. Literally a donut.
Literally a donut. She's quite a chonk. I love her very much. Thank you, Brock, for sharing. Next up from Stacy, pronouns she and her. This is my 95-year-old mom at the No Kings rally on October 18th.
No one in this picture looks 95. And I'm just assuming it's the woman on the right, but I'm not even sure.
I can't tell. Everybody looks like 55. This is her 4th protest with her family. Thank you both for being part of my morning routine. Look at these amazing people.
Love it.
Fantastic. And great signs, too. And then from Jen, pronouns she and her. Hi, Queens of the Beans. I want to shout out my fabulous sister-in-law and my bestie. I'm a family physician who is a blue dot in red wow counties of Wisconsin. I'm losing my ever-loving mind over brainworm Bobby and his ridiculous anti-vax, anti-science bullshit. I can imagine being a family physician. Jen. My sister-in-law made me the most fabulous counted cross stitch. It's brilliant, and I've included a picture. My bestie made me an emotional support dumpster fire. Between the two of these amazing women, I'm trying to laugh, not cry, my way through these fucked up times. Thank you both for the laughter and the cussing. I appreciate you more than you could possibly know. You are amazing and a light that we need in this world. As Pod Pet Tariff, I've included a pic of my bestest boy, Xinis. Oh, Xinis crossed the rainbow bridge, but lives on in our hearts. Look at this beautiful baby. Oh, okay. So there's a cross stitch of Oregon Trail, the Oregon Trail, where it says instead of you've died of dysentery, it says you listen to RFK. And then there's the emotional support dumpster fire crocheted by the bestie. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for all this good news. I needed that. I know y'all did too. Absolutely. Send it all to us, dailybeanspod.com. Click on contact. Don't forget, if you want to take part in fine-tuning our new video podcast, you've got to sign up to become a patron. It's just $5 a month. That's super simple. You can do it at patreon.com/thedailybeans or patreon.com/MillerSheWrote. Either one, same thing. And we'll start sending you those new video pods just here in a few days, right? Next Monday is the first one. Looking forward to it.
I can't wait. I love to see, Alice and I get to see each other every day. So we've got some great chemistry where we get to just bullshit about stuff instead of just reading the headlines or reading the stories. We get to say things that you're not going to hear on the audio podcast. So it's not going to be a bunch of repetition, but you're going to want both of them. I mean, that's basically it. You're going to want to have both of them.
Yeah, that's why we're just calling it a whole new podcast. I mean, it's just a whole new video pod. And we need your help as patrons to name the thing. Changes to basic stuff like what the Chiron looks like, where little things go, our little bugs, they're called. Just, basic stuff. And we want your input. So again, patreon.com/MillerSheWrote. You can go to MillerSheWrote.com and sign up for my Substack though, if you want. Can't keep all my websites straight. There's 9,000 of them. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Send us your good news when you get a chance. We want to be overwhelmed with it. We'll be back in your ears tomorrow. Do you have any final thoughts for today?
No, ma'am.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and take care of your family. I've been AG.
I've been DG.
And them's the beans.
The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for The Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com.
MSW Media.